ang Pangulo, ang unang ginang, at ang former Speaker ng House of Representatives. Ba't mahalaga? Ba't alarming yan?
Well, Your Honor, pwede hong mag-take advantage yung ibang grupo dyan, ibang individual. God forbid may mangyari sa Vice Presidente for one reason or the other. Mati-trigger ho ngayon yung instruction, and then papatayin ngayon yung, God forbid again, ang Presidente, Lisa Marcos, ang former Speaker. And, in fact, even yung triggering na phase na yun, pwedeng mag-take advantage doon yung ibang grupo, thinking na pag in-assassinate natin ng tatlo, ang sisisihin ang Vice Presidente. So marami hong anggulo, Your Honor, para ho sa amin sa law enforcement, medyo magiging disorder, magiging chaotic, magiging anarchy yung society pag hindi siya na-address. Yun po yung sa amin as investigator, sir.
But was she not only joking, Attorney Loto?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
Pero there's basis to that, Your Honor.
Sustained. Reform your
Okay,
question.
now, let's go to, let's proceed, Mr. Witness. So far, you mentioned, ito yung mga factor, no? Manner, literal meaning, nature of the instruction. Ano pa yung fourth factor kung alam mo?
The relationship between the parties, meaning the relationship between the Vice President and the President, sir.
Now, what about the fourth factor? No? Why is it significant to investigation?
Well, in one of the utterances made by the Vice President, she characterizes the relationship with the President as toxic. Your
Toxic.
Honor. If I'm not mistaken, at least 3 times siya binigas yung term na toxic, referring to the relationship between her and the President, sir.
Now, what were your reasons, if any, that made you conclude na nasabi na ng Vice President na toxic yung relationship niya between her and the President?
Objection calls for an opinion, Your Honor.
Investigation.
Witness may answer part of his investigation.
Una, yung resignation niya as Secretary ng Department of Education. Pangalawa, yung utterances niya noong October 18, nung sinabi niya na I realize toxic na itong relationship. Gusto kong tanggalin yung ulo niya ba? And then I imagine myself cutting his head.
What else, if any?
The reaction of the recipient of those utterances, Your Honor, the reaction from the President himself, sir.
So the reaction from the President himself. Now, you already mentioned kanina ano yung reaction ng President. Yung tanong now, Attorney Lotok, is, why did you consider yung reaction ng mga recipients ng pagbabanta, kagaya ng President? Let's focus on the President. Ba't nyo kinonsider yung reaction nila?
Well, we want to establish whether the recipient of those utterances felt intimidated by those statements, or did they took it serious and actual threat. Material ho sa amin yun, Your Honor, if only to establish the mens rea of
Mens rea ng krimen. Now, let's focus on the President. Now, let's focus on the President. Ito yung premise now. Based on your investigation, no? What was your impression of the President based on his reaction? Was he intimidated?
Well, yung opening statement ng Presidente, ang sabi niya, nakakabahala ang mga narinig natin itong mga nakarang araw. Ito yung isang kriminal na pagtatangka. Papalagan ko to. Yes, Your Honor. The President took the threat by the Vice President as serious and real.
Now, Mr. Witness, aside from yung reaction ng mga recipients, we focus on the President. Ano pa yung ibang mga factors na kinonsider nyo kung meron pa man?
Yes, Your Honor. We find it, this is from the point of view of the investigator, we find it disturbing when we try to compare the utterances made in October 18 and the utterances made in November 23. And may nakita ho kami doon, at least 3 o 4 na medyo sabi ko nga, disturbing from the point of view namin.
Disturbing. Tatlo or apat na disturbing na
Na utterances, Your Honor.
utterances. Now, let's go to that. So you said you compared the utterances in October 18 tsaka November 23. Sabi mo, you found at least 3 or 4 disturbing statements. Tama ba? Now, ano ba yung 3 statements na ito?
Your Honor, we are trying to establish the patterns and the consistencies of those utterances. For instance, noong October 18, ang sabi niya is, walang number 1 ang Pilipinas na to. Para sa akin, number 2 lamang ito. Walang number 1. And then we compared it in November 23. Ang sabi niya, reiterate niya, I do not recognize anybody above me. That's number 1, Your Honor. The number 2, ang sabi niya noong October 18, hindi marunong maging presidente yung nakaupo. Kasalanan ko ba yon? And then we compared it in November 23. Ang sabi niya doon, this country will go to hell because that person who is sitting, sabi niya, doesn't know how to be a president and who is a liar.
All right.
The number 3, ang sabi niya sa October 18, meron akong 5 impeachable offense na alam kay BBM pero papasabad dyan sa House. Siyempre hindi. Then kinumpare namin November 23. Ang sabi ng John, sabi niya doon is he was lying through his teeth para makuha lang yung boto ng mga tao. And then nagmura na siya, PI ka, BBM, Lisa Marcos, and Martin Romualdez, Your Honor.
What do you mean by PI?
Putang ina, sir.
Okay. You said that you found these 3 comparisons disturbing. Now, these 3, ano yung significance ng 3 comparisons nito sa investigasyon nyo? Kung meron man.
Yes, Your Honor. Based on these patterns and consistencies in the utterances made by the Vice President, it appears that these statements have tendency to stir up the people against the government, have tendency to disturb the peace of the community, have tendency to undermine the peace and order, the public peace and order, sir.
Now, Mr. Witness, given all these findings, sinabi mo, seryoso, tsaka totoo, yung mga pagbabanta ng Vice Presidente, anong ginawa ng division mo, kung meron man, in relation to the investigation?
We executed, Your Honor, affidavit of investigation, and we recommended criminal charges. 3 counts for grave threats, and 1 count for inciting to sedition, sir.
Your Honor, now, na-mention mo yung affidavit of investigation. For clarity, anong date ng affidavit of investigation na nasabi mo?
February 10, 2024.
February 10.
2025, sir.
February 10, kung yung affidavit of investigation and the annexes ipapakita sa iyo, ma-identify mo ba yung affidavit na ito?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you now a copy of the affidavit of investigation. May petsang February 10, 2025. That is previously marked for the prosecution as Exhibit P-Roman numeral 4-3. You peruse the documents and access. I move that the defense be allowed to peruse the same. And the question is, what do these documents have? What relation, if any, do these documents have with the documents you mentioned?
Counsel for both parties may approach.
Manifestation, Your Honor.
Counsel for the respondent may proceed.
Your Honor, we just like to manifest, Your Honor, that the marked document, permanently marked by the prosecution, does not contain any annexes. And the other set of documents that he is comparing it to has affidavit annexes, Your Honor.
I can reply to that, Your Honor, please. If I
Counsel
may,
for the prosecution will please reply.
Number 1, the affidavit of investigation, the annexes thereto, ay makikita yung mga annexes, most of them, as separate documents that have been pre-marked. Ulitin ko, yung mga hinahanap ng depensa ng mga annexes sa affidavit and investigation